Truth be told, I've been kicked out of the house. Could you put me up for just a night? What? You were kicked out? Grandpa, let's live together in our house. Oh, is that okay? Father-in-law, having been treated poorly by his son-in-law and daughter-in-law, was finally evicted from their house. If he were to live with us, who run a sushi restaurant. I'm Emily, 40 years old. My husband Jacob is 2 years older. Although Jacob, my high school senior, and I were separated for a while due to work, I thought it might be over. But a few years later, Jacob, who returned to our hometown, proposed, saying he wanted to be together forever. And so, we who got married are doing quite well. Our daughter Jessica is in the 3rd grade of elementary school, and we are a close-knit family of 3. We run a sushi restaurant, which was Jacob's lifelong dream, but it's not going so well, and our recent worry is how to make it prosper more. It's very delicious, and it's not that customers don't come. But there's nothing outstanding about it. It's just very ordinary. I'd like to try advertising on popular SNS, but we can't afford to do that now. Today, we are visiting the house where my husband's brother and his wife live, but honestly, I was not comfortable with this brother-in-law and his wife. Even now, when my husband offered the sushi rolls that we brought as a souvenir, this happened. Bro, I put in a new pickled ingredient. Try it and let me know what you think. Come on, don't bring me such stuff. I only eat sushi from high-end restaurants. Oh, darling, you shouldn't say such things. It's cruel. We can just let father-in-law eat it. What terrible things they both say. Since their mother-in-law passed away due to illness, their father-in-law has been living here with his son-in-law and daughter-in-law. That's why I occasionally go to see my father-in-law, but each time I visit, I'm bothered by the increasingly rough treatment he receives. Jacob, Emily, thank you. I'll enjoy it later. I'll make some tea now. My father-in-law, who had been playing with my daughter, suddenly came over and said this. Wait a minute, father-in-law. That's expensive tea for guests. Don't use it for the family. Dad, don't be so fussy. Mary told you not to go into the kitchen, right? But you two, your brother's family has come to visit, and you're not even offering tea. I was about to do it. Oh, you're so annoying. It's irritating enough that you're here every day. We are fine without tea. Instead, if you don't mind, brother-in-law and sister-in-law, please try the sushi. I'd love to hear your opinions. I couldn't stand it any longer and intervened as softly as possible. Emily, it must be tough running a sushi restaurant with such a brother. You need to brush up or you won't prosper. Brush up? No use. Even if you use English words, she won't understand. A down sushi restaurant like yours is probably drowning in debt and on the verge of bankruptcy, right? We do have debt, but we're managing to pay it back bit by bit. In response to Mary's harsh words, my husband retorted, frustrated. Ignoring my husband, Mary continued to me. You should have married an elite banker like me. It's a pity that 2 brothers can be so different. Exactly. Your life would have been much better if you had followed my lead, instead of pursuing your childhood dream of owning a sushi restaurant with Dad. Both of you, stop it! Why do you only say such terrible things? Rarely, my father-in-law raised his voice. However, it seems that Lucas and Mary couldn't forgive my father-in-law for defending us this time. I never thought they would go so far. It happened that night. The intercom rang sometime after 10 when our daughter had gone to bed. Who could it be at this hour? I'll get it. Dad? What's going on? Surprised by my husband's voice, I hurried over. Sorry for showing up at this hour. Actually, I was kicked out of the house. I hate to ask, but could you let me stay just for tonight? What? You were kicked out? Apparently, this happened after we left my brother-in-law's house. Hey, Dad, what was that earlier, defending Jacob and the others? Well, you two were saying some terrible things. Look, we're taking care of you out of necessity, Dad. Do you understand that? Honestly, it's a nuisance. We were looking after you in our home because you gave us the down payment for this apartment, but haven't we done enough? Yeah, right. We have let you live this easy life. So that's how you two feel? I offered to cook and clean, but you were the ones who told me not to do anything. Well, we don't want you touching our kitchen and such, haha. Isn't it about time we both moved on? Why don't we send you to your beloved younger son's house? Yeah, that's a good idea, haha. Hearing this story, we are outraged. What the heck? I can't believe it! I've been bothered my brother and sister-in-law's attitude for a while now, but I never thought it could be this bad. I've been feeling this way for a long time too. I can't forgive them anymore. Anyway, it's late now, and we have an early morning tomorrow, so let's go to bed. Father-in-law, please warm yourself in the bath. I'll prepare your bed in the meantime. Thank you, Emily. I'm sorry. The next morning, our daughter was surprised to see her grandfather when she woke up. Grandpa, what's happening? Good morning, Jessica. Sorry for suddenly intruding. Why? I'm happy, Grandpa. Let's play when I come back from school. Jessica, who has been fond of her grandfather since she was a baby, has always been close to him. Mom, did something happen at Grandpa's house? Eh? Well, kind of. At 9 years old, she's sharp and understands a lot. It's so sad that he always gets bullied at their house. Can't he live with us? Eh? Grandpa, let's live together here. That night, our family unanimously decided to live with John after holding a family meeting. I've been worried about Lucas and Mary, who have always looked down on my father-in-law, but I can't forgive them for treating him so poorly. It's not that we hadn't considered living with my father-in-law before, but I was hesitant to bring it up, wondering how my family would react. To my surprise, Jacob was grateful and excited, and it was Jessica who brought it up, even though I was most worried about how she'd react. Strike while the iron is hot, Jacob proposed to his brother over the phone. To our surprise, both Lucas and Mary were thrilled and didn't even apologize. And so, my father-in-law became a member of our family. After a few days, my father-in-law expressed his wish to work at our sushi restaurant, even if it's just as a replacement for rent. Oh, you don't have to worry about that. I've always loved cooking, and actually, I used to work at the sushi restaurant when I was younger. Really? I didn't know that. That was before Jacob was born. And so, my father-in-law started helping us in the back of our sushi restaurant. Jacob, could I have a moment? I'm thinking this fish might be better with a kelp wrap. Eh? Which one? Also, could you hear me out? I have a few concerns. Perhaps because they are father and son, my father-in-law expressed his thoughts to Jacob one after the other. His advice seemed to be on point, and Jacob agreed, changing the way he prepared several types of sushi. Gradually, the number of customers increased. The number of online reviews increased, and all of them were positive, praising the improved taste and cleaner store. Sales also steadily grew. Thanks to my father-in-law, our sushi restaurant was able to change for the better. My father-in-law wasn't always at the restaurant, so Jessica had less alone time after she came back home, which was a relief, and the two of them seemed to enjoy eating meals and reading books together. However, an incident occurred after about 6 months. Lucas and Mary burst in. Dad! Lucas and Mary too. What's going on? We're here to take you back, Dad. We were so surprised. We were just joking that you actually left. Exactly, so let's go home now. What is this couple talking about? Jacob and I exchanged glances. No, a joke? And besides, I'm working at this sushi shop, so I can't just return. That's it. Sales have increased since you came to this house. Now it's a famous shop. You have a talent for business, Dad. Business talent? That's not it. So I thought I'd start a sushi shop too. I've already quit my job at the bank, and the shop is opening next week. So come back and lend me a hand. Wait a minute. After driving my father-in-law out and not contacting us once, suddenly asking him to come back is too much to ask. Exactly, Lucas. Stop talking nonsense. What? Are you opposing me? I could easily prevent a small shop like this from receiving bank loans, you know. What? Is that a threat? After all, I could have managed this business much better from the start. Things are good now, but without me, you'll probably start failing again soon. What did you say? Calm down, Emily. My father-in-law admonished me when I instinctively raised my voice. Understood. I'll return. Father-in-law! Dad? Oh, father-in-law, thank goodness. You really prefer our luxury apartment, don't you? All right, let's go. Lucas nodded at us and left. Father-in-law. I'll be all right. With that, he looked at me and Jacob in the eyes, gave a single nod, and left. What? They came to take Grandpa back? That doesn't make any sense. They are definitely going to bully him again. My daughter, who had just returned home and learned about the situation, was furious. That's absolutely correct. It's outrageous for them to demand him back after treating him so poorly, just because our store is doing well now. But I thought I should respect my father-in-law's decision and restrain myself. However, a month later, my father-in-law appeared before us again. I'm back. Father-in-law? What happened? They kicked me out again. What? It's fine. I anticipated this. I thought this would happen. Huh? My husband and I listened to my father-in-law's story. What he had been doing at Lucas' place, I see. That awful couple, I wonder what will become of them. So, my father-in-law started living in our house again, and our daughter was overjoyed. Of course, he also came back to work at the sushi restaurant. Even after my father-in-law had left, we had faithfully carried out his teachings, so our sales hadn't fallen, but without him, things had been tough. However, we were able to run the shop efficiently again. Thanks to my father-in-law's connections, we could even procure fresh, unusual fish, and our customers only increased. Then, Lucas and his wife, having heard this information, intruded again. They were always toying with my father-in-law for their own convenience and belittling people, and I was no longer willing to forgive them. Dad, what's going on? Oh, Lucas, what's the matter? What's the matter? Our store's customers are decreasing, so why is there a queue here? Well, it's because the sushi Jacob makes is delicious, and Emily's service is also great, isn't it? Even in our store, we are making sushi just as you taught us. Did you possibly give us a fake recipe? Why would I teach you a fake recipe? Then why is there such a difference? Firstly, who's making the sushi in your shop? It's a friend I hired. We decided to hit it big with a high-end sushi restaurant together. I hope not, but that person isn't an amateur, right? Of course not. He holds a chef's license. Where and for how long did he train? Train? What training? Are you understanding sushi chefs? Just because you have a cooking license doesn't mean you can serve sushi to people. But we have Dad's recipe. Even this guy didn't do well until he was told by Dad, and then he prospered. What are you talking about, bro? I trained for many years because I wanted to open a sushi restaurant. Even after that, I studied and prepared multiple times after closing. You can't just start serving new dishes right away. What? Also, your restaurant is advertising itself as a high-end place, right? I saw your website. And even if you could serve the same taste in sushi as us, there's no way customers would come if you are charging double the price. Even if they visit once, customers won't return for an overpriced amateur taste. Isn't that obvious? Hey, don't act so high and mighty. I'm more professional when it comes to management. Enough! Huh? My father-in-law shouted in admonishment. Sure, you might have business knowledge from working in a bank, but running a restaurant is not just about that. If it's sushi, you need knowledge about fish. How to handle it, how to cut it, how to preserve its freshness. And it takes many years of training to make the sushi. Jacob has been learning for many years. That's why I relied on you, Dad. I told you to write down everything about cutting and making sushi. You lied, didn't you? As I said, I wrote everything down. If you were serious about wanting to learn, I was planning to instruct you. But you said it was a nuisance and told me to leave. There's no way someone who has never trained can do it just by looking at the piece of paper. At this point, Luca's wife interjected. Instruction? Jacob was only able to do it because he trained on his own. Despite being just a fish-loving amateur, you act so high and mighty. I wonder if you treat your customers with that kind of contemptuous attitude. Huh? Sure, I'm an amateur now, but when I was young before, I became an office worker. I worked at a sushi restaurant, and it was at Matsuzushi. What? Matsuzushi? The famous one? Now, even the restaurants run by the disciples who have taken over the front curtain are fully booked. The chef at their main shop and I was in the same class. He, who used to work hard together with me, is now quite a celebrity. That's a lie, right? If you worked at such a successful sushi restaurant, you wouldn't have changed jobs to become an office worker. That's right. Normally, that might be the case, but your mother was weak. It was impossible to raise children while working as a sushi chef, which is a demanding job from early morning till late at night. I switched jobs and became a normal office worker when you were born. That's a lie. It's not a lie. You're welcome to check with Matsuzushi. What? Yes, the sushi restaurant where my father-in-law worked when he was young had become so famous that no one didn't know about it. Thanks to my father-in-law's personable character, which has maintained a relationship with his colleagues and masters from that time, our family benefits a lot. We are able to get good deals on fish at the market, learn about rare fish, etc. My husband and I were surprised to realize that my father-in-law's advice was right on point. If that's the case, I'll fire the guy we have now. Should I hire a sushi chef? And let's make this place even more successful with Dad and me. My father-in-law decisively replied to Lucas, who was now trying to turn things around. I'll make this clear. I have no intention of going back to your place in the future. Why? It's suffocating, with restrictions on what you can do and what you can't. Living with Jacob and the others, I've realized how stifled I've been up till now. I've been constantly criticized, kicked out, and called back at your convenience. We won't kick you out anymore, father-in-law. Mary chimed in with a forced smile and a voice as sweet as honey. Even though you have no desire to live together? Huh? Mary froze with a plastered smile on her face. This time too, you only want to call me back because you think it will make you money, right? Well... Mary was so struck that she couldn't find words to continue. As I said earlier, just having a manual is not enough. You have to take time to refine your skills, and most importantly, sincerity is necessary. You both critically lack that. Dad, I'm sorry for everything until now. Lucas began to grovel at my father-in-law. It was clear that they were a couple who would try to smooth things over with mere words. Brother, we are starting to prepare for the evening shift, so could you leave? Please leave. My husband and I said in succession. Damn you all, don't get carried away. I used to be an elite banker. I'll make sure you can't get loans in the future. At that moment, the shop door opened with a bang. I'm back! Welcome back. Wait, Jessica? I was surprised to see my daughter, who usually comes home from the back of the house, appear from the entrance of the shop. Was that what you call a threat? Huh? My daughter was staring straight at Lucas and Mary. You came to our shop before and raised your voice and said awful things. Even before that, you were always bullying Grandpa at home. What? What nonsense are you spouting, you insolent child? You're just like your low-life parents. Mom, Dad, Amy's dad, who we get along with, is a police officer. I'll consult with him for you. Oh, what? With an unexpected phrase out of the blue, the three of us widened our eyes, while Lucas and Mary turned pale. Amy's dad is a really important person in the police, you know. What? Oh, wait, we are leaving. Whether it was due to my innocent daughter's words, Lucas and Mary bolted out of the shop in a hurry. Welcome back, Jessica. Oh my, that was a surprise. Thank you for helping us out. My father-in-law gazed at our daughter with a surprised yet gentle expression. Hehe. It's true that Amy's dad is a police officer, but whether he's important or not, I don't know. I found myself unable to close my mouth at Jessica's nonchalant response. My husband, my father-in-law, and I exchanged glances, and then all of us burst into laughter. Lucas' shop ended up closing down just 6 months later. He claimed he had quit his job to start the business, but the truth was slightly different. Lucas had been demoted for blaming his mistakes on his subordinates, and it was uncovered. Unhappy with the decision, he left the bank in a huff. That's why when his business didn't go well, there was no one to lend him a hand, and he ended up in huge debt. With a mountain of debt, it was hardly surprising that Lucas and Mary didn't last. There are rumors of a messy divorce. Lucas apparently has been job hunting, but considering how he left his previous job, finding employment again in the banking industry is likely to be difficult. He doesn't have a good reputation, so there's no one willing to help him out. On the other hand, our sushi restaurant continued to thrive. We managed to pay off the rest of our debts as we attracted a steady stream of customers. We have even been featured in town magazines and on TV, and the number of people promoting us on social media has increased, keeping us busy every day. Of course, my father-in-law is helping us out with the restaurant. I never thought I'd have such a purpose in life at this age. Thank you, truly. On our day off, as we all sat eating cake together, my father-in-law said formally, "We are the ones who should be saying thank you." That's right, not just with the restaurant, but with everything at home. Having you here gives us peace of mind. Thank you also for being so kind to Jessica. Grandpa, let's play reversi. I won't lose today. Our daughter, who finished her cake first, called for her grandfather from the living room. We may face many challenges in the future. The restaurant might encounter difficulties, and living together could bring moments of frustration. Life is long, filled with ups and downs. When such times come, let's sit down, face each other, and have a conversation. If we share our thoughts and feelings, we can surely overcome anything. As I watched the smiles on my daughter and my father-in-law's faces, I shared a smile with my husband.